Hello guys, welcome back to the next tutorial. In previous tutorials we talked about how do we find elements using Selenium Webdriver on a web page by using different locators. We also saw what are the prerequisites for finding elements. Now we will see how do we find list of elements using Selenium Webdriver. So let's get started. We have covered all these locators in previous tutorial. Find element by ID, find element by name, by class name, by tag name, by link text, and so on. These locators work fine when you need to find unique attribute value. But you might come across a scenario where you won't be able to find unique attribute value. For example, you want to select a particular drop-down item value, but as drop-down contains multiple items, so it might not have unique one. All items might have same class attribute or not have ID or name values. So what will you do in this case? Solution is you will fetch list of items and then select that particular item from the list. Other scenarios would be you may have a test case to check all text fields are available on a web page, or test case to check all buttons are available on a web page. So in this case you will find the list of all buttons or text field to check these are available or not. You can use tag names to fetch list, or you can use class name attributes. You can't use ID to find list of elements as ID is usually unique, but if it's not, then you can use ID as well. So it applies to almost every attribute. Now in this tutorial we will see how can we find list of element by using these locators. If you carefully notice, the difference is only S. Find elements by ID, find elements by name, find elements by class name, and so on. We are finding list of elements or multiple elements, so it's elements, not element. All of these locators work same as we saw in previous tutorials, but only the difference is we use find element by CSS Selector to locate one unique element, and we use find elements by tag name, link text, etc. to locate more than one element, or you can say list of elements which share same attribute values. Let's get into the code. I'm gonna bring up my PyCharm. Here I have already created a class named as find list of elements. Here I have initialized the Chrome browser, and as Chrome browser requires driver path, so I have saved the Chrome driver path in a variable and passed this variable while initializing the browser. Here I have added the Python website URL which I want to open. You can use any URL here. And here I have added a teardown function which will quit the browser at the end. I have called the class here and then called the function which needs to be run, and also called the teardown function here. Let's locate element in DOM now. Right click here and click on inspect. Select this option appearing at the top left. Now select the element, any element. As you know, this text field is an element. Label, button, text field, all are elements of this web page. Selecting any of this element highlights it under DOM, and you can see different attributes are associated to this text field element. ID, name, type, role, all are attributes. Here is the menu navigation bar which contains multiple options, so we can fetch this list of items. Let's select it, and here is the class attribute which is navigation and menu. We can pick any one. And now I'm gonna create CSS selector by using this class attribute. CSS selector would be navigation, this, and let's select list here. I have told you how to create this CSS selector in previous tutorial. We'll add link at top right. You can check this tutorial to see how to create different CSS selectors. And here you can see it's not unique. It's showing more than one elements are present in DOM. How can we find this about, download, or anyone from the navigation bar? Let's find about text. Let's implement it in code. Let's add it here. I'm gonna find list of elements, so I'll add elements variable, and here driver dot find, let's add self dot driver dot find elements by, here you can see find element by CSS selector, and find elements by class name, and let's add complete elements. Find element by class name, find elements by XPath, by tag name. Here is the list, so I'm gonna select by CSS selector, and I will add CSS selector here, which is this. Okay, and this elements variable will have list of all these elements which are mapped to this CSS selector. We are seeing 22 elements are present on this web page with same CSS selector, so it will have these number of elements. Let's see what length are we having for this list. So let's add variable. To get the length of list, we use len keyword, that is len, and here add the elements variable. Let's print length to see if list is not empty, then how many elements we have in a list. If elements is not none, then print length of list is space, and add concatenate sign, which is plus, and string length. So this is a string which we are gonna print, and this plus sign is a concatenate sign which concatenate two strings, and as it's a string and length value will be a int type, so I'm doing typecast here, converting it in string first. Now I'm gonna add loop to find particular element which we are looking for. I'm using for loop here, so syntax would be write for, then write key, and then write in, and then write list name, which is elements. It's pretty simple that we are looking for key in a list. Okay. If Let's add condition if key, or you can change the name here to make it more readable, that is element key, and element key dot text equals to double equals to means we are comparing two values, and add the string which we are looking for, that is about. If element key dot text equals to about, then print we are able to find element. And let's run this script. And I'm seeing error here. Error is subject of type web element has no length. Okay, see, I have added find element by CSS selector. This variable is expecting a list of elements, but we are fetching a unique element instead of a list. This is why it's giving me an error. So let's change it. Add s here. It's find elements by CSS selector. Keep this in mind. Let's rerun it and see it works or not. And see, it's working. Both the statements have been printed out here. Length of list is 22, and we are able to find elements. Here I have used find elements by CSS selector. You can use any locator with elements word to fetch list of elements. All will work same. I have used find elements by CSS selector. You can use find elements by XPath, find elements by tag name, or any other locator. All will work same. So that's about it. Thanks for running this one, guys, and stay tuned for the next tutorial.